As the daughter of a Turkish Cypriot mother, my toes first felt the Cypriot sands when I was less than 1 year old. My mother's family comes from inside the walled city of Famagusta, a name which I have since learned was derived from an old Greek word meaning buried in the sand. The walls are truly amazing. They enclose the city inside of nearly 5 kilometers of stone and earth and allow access inside through 3 separate gates. The structure features 14 bastions. Most are named after wealthy Venetian families that helped to fund their construction. These projections of the wall allow defensive fire in many directions. Although the walls are often referred to as the Venetian Walls because they were inherited by the Venetians in 1489, they were actually built by the Lusinians, who were a French-speaking empire in the 1300s. The Lusinian walls were tall and thin to repel archers' arrows. By the time the Venetians inherited the city, the weapons of war now included gunpowder, and the walls had to defend against cannon fire. Accordingly, the Venetians invested time and money to fortify the walls of Famagusta. Historic architecture experts consider the walls to be a classic example of 16th century military construction. Even today, the 15-meter-high walls and moat act as a barrier to the world around it. Despite their impressive design, they were not quite complete when the Ottoman Empire attacked in 1571, and the city eventually fell during the siege of Famagusta. Despite everything these walls have endured, they still stand today. I often walked through the impressively enormous city walls without stopping to think about how old they were, who built them, and why. I explored the old parts of the city with new eyes and began to feel the weight of regret that such an amazing place has been left to decay and fade into shadows after nearly 50 years. Somehow, this ancient stone structure still stands today. Without protection, it may not for much longer. Standing in a Famagusta square, where my great-grandfather once stood and spoke to crowds, I feel the presence of the Cypriot past. Its spirit is still alive within these walls. But even with some past funding, the treasures of this amazing city are falling apart nonetheless. The ongoing conflict that separates Cyprus also stands in the way of protecting ancient Famagusta. While we wait for a political solution, the history carved in the stone Venetian walls of Famagusta is disappearing daily as it bakes in the hot Cypriot sun. It's vital for young Cypriots to band together and seek assistance in protecting and restoring the incredible ramparts and the treasured structures that lie within. Our ancestors have left us these generational gifts, and without protection, future young Cypriots may not have the opportunity that I've had to know, to touch, and to inherit the priceless history of the ancient walled city of Famagusta. It may instead simply crumble back into the sand.